Hello, today is Thursday, June 21st, 2018. I'm Joe Schmidt with TC2, and this is Staying Connected. At TC2 and LB3, we spend a lot of time helping clients negotiate best-in-class deals for telecom, for ICT, and most any technology solution. This is part of what we do, and we've done this for many years. So we really do know what a best-in-class deal looks like. And we do know what it looks like when a client does a good job of managing the deal. Unfortunately, we also occasionally come across a deal that is, maybe it's not quite best in class, and where the enterprise probably hasn't done a very good deal of managing their contract and their vendor relationship. So on today's podcast, my TC2 colleague Bryan Carriker and I are going to take a look at what happens when enterprises don't own their deal. I should mention before joining TC2, Bryan spent many years at Verizon, so he has a good two-sided view of this topic. Bryan, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, Joe, thanks for having me. This is a critical area, as you've introduced. We do see deals that are best in class. We see clients and vendors who know their roles, they know their responsibilities, and they're able together to generate a great, effective relationship and engagement. We've also seen deals that are full of conflict. They spend more time pointing their fingers, and worst of all, we see businesses that struggle and don't move forward. With real focus and decisive intervention, defective, unsatisfactory relationships and deals can be brought to a place where they're effective and they're helping to drive business ahead.
All right, so give me five things that you've seen with contracts and vendor management that are egregiously bad.
First of all, we have contracts that are negotiated. You've seen them, I've seen them, where the key stakeholders are not engaged. These teams are brought in, they negotiate, but the teams that will be supporting the contract in the end, they have no voice. They have little or no hope of carrying out the intent of the contract at all. We've seen these teams go back to the negotiators wanting to know what was the intent in this contract, and they find that those people have changed companies, or those people simply because they are on another deal. They don't remember what was intended at the time. But by engaging the support teams, they are able to identify and participate in those brainstorming sessions. They're able to help generate a richer deal. They're able to be more creative and drive best-in-class engagements.
Hey man, I'm from Chicago, so these behind-the-door closed deals, that's the way we do things in Chicago.
Yeah, I believe that, Joe. But truthfully, when it comes to telecom deals, that's not the best practice.
All right, so what's next on your list?
What I think I would list best is when a contract is negotiated, a deal is negotiated, and then it's forgotten.
What do you mean by that?
When you have a group that comes in, negotiates a contract, and there's no group or person at either company, the supplier or the client, that own the contract. They don't understand what's written in it. Therefore, nothing's done. Account teams change. Regular stewardship meetings are canceled. And then everything stops altogether, and suddenly nobody seems to know where the contract is or what's in it. We all know contracts are long and very detailed. And it really serves as a rule book for a relationship. If we look at a simple illustration that really uncovers this issue, it'd be like a school teacher at an elementary school taking her students out to the playground and saying to them, today we're going to play a game. It's called tag. Okay, everybody go. Well, the students would first of all look at each other and they'd be checking, are y'all as lost as I am? And then they'd all look up at the teacher. And they'd be asking questions like, what kind of tag? Are we playing link tag or freeze tag or team tag or some other tag? And the big question is, who's it? They are all looking for direction and rules. They're looking for a contract. Outsourcing engagements are the same. Teams are sitting in meeting rooms frustrated. They need the same things, rules and direction. And no one has taken the time to get to know their contract.
So that sounds a little bit like a governance issue.
It really is. It's one of those items on my list as well. little to no governance framework. Engagements like this, deals, executing a deal is like a dance. And sometimes you're leading and sometimes you have to follow. A well-designed governance model is going to identify leadership from both the client and vendor, and it's going to define their scope of control. All areas of the contract need to be covered by the leadership team, and they need to have regular governance reviews, either quarterly or monthly. This leadership team is going to be responsible for overseeing SLAs and reviewing them, the contract fulfillment, and managing the relationship. If you don't have governance, you're not able to evaluate, you don't have effective communication, and you certainly aren't able to operate with a continual service improvement plan. Another impact to this is you end up with a deal where key business users don't buy in. When the business users aren't considered and their needs aren't understood, it's like poison to a business's functionality. The IT organization is failing in its relationship to manage a vendor. And then you have business user community that's angry and dissatisfied. And you know, Joe, they will not hesitate to escalate their pain to all levels of your organization. You're talking a situation that's total chaos when you have vendors that aren't doing their role and business users that are totally dissatisfied.
Yeah, I've actually seen that a lot in my career. And the way it's supposed to work, at least textbook says that the business has a business requirement and that need is supposed to drive a technical solution. You and I know that sometimes technology has to be pushed, to the business. So, when a CIO says we're a Microsoft shop and everybody's going to use Microsoft Office, that makes sense. But typically the business is supposed to drive the technology, and it's not pretty when technology is pushed upon a business without their buy-in.
You're 100% right. And I think we've covered 4 items. I think the last area here, Joe, that I would mention is outsourcing a deal doesn't mean you're offloading. If we understand the concept that business strategy, like you've said, is driving IT strategy, and IT strategy doesn't drive business strategy, that's a critical thing to understand. I was meeting with an IT executive from one of our country's largest financial institutions, and we were talking about business strategy, and he said to me, we at our company, we're an IT company that'll loan you money. And I immediately thought, well, he's got this reversed, IT strategy driving business strategy. Well, I challenged him, and I said, isn't that reversed? And he said, no. He said, what you got to understand is our business strategy is 100% enabled by our IT organization. And our business unit knows that because we're very agile and we're very effective in our IT organization, we will enable the business strategists to be creative and innovative. The IT organization is fully engaged and exists to make the business vibrant. The logic behind outsourcing is we don't do this area of IT very well, so let's find a vendor to do it for us. And the vendor's, of course, going to come in and promise they do it well. If the IT organization enters into a deal and they don't remain heavily involved in the performance evaluation and effectiveness of the deal, it's doomed to fail. And the business strategy of the company is, in the end, going to be undermined. We've got to be aware as we move through business these days, IT is critical to most of the business we carry out today, and we've got to do it well.
So you're right on that point. When companies advocate the responsibility for their deal and for vendor management, they're just asking for trouble. Okay, well, thanks, Bryan. Thanks for taking the time today, and thank you to the listening audience. If you'd like to learn more about negotiating enterprise deals and vendor management, or maybe you have other ICT lifecycle needs, you can send Bryan or me or any of our TC2 and LB3 colleagues an email, or you can just give us a call. And as always, you can stay current by checking out our websites or follow us on LinkedIn.